Hello everyone and welcome. In this video I'll be talking about Fear the Walking I Wish I Was Dead Season 7 Episode 6. As is the norm with all my videos, I will be self-harming, so please do keep that in mind. Anyway, without any further cries for help, let's begin. Oh boy, where do I even start with this episode? As you can guess from that introduction, I absolutely hated it. I hated this episode. The episode begins with this awful footage from Al's camera as she's talking about her relationship with the Civic Republic lady. And my god, just watching this clip made my recently diagnosed hernia double in size. It's so bad. And this video is constantly interrupted by these sappy scenes on Al's camera of her talking about her relationship with Civic Republic lady, her looking awkwardly at the camera and saying lines like, "Oh, do you remember when we first met? Do you remember?" Oh boy, it's just so bad.
Do you remember when we first met, Joshy Josh?
Yes, I do remember, Scott, and it still haunts me to this day. This episode also looks awful, which is the norm for Fear Season 7. I mean, during the first 20 minutes or so, I thought I'd gone colourblind. All I could see was yellow and browns. This episode looks like the contents of a public toilet. Piss and shit mixed together. This episode was also one of those episodes of Fear in which you come into it and it feels like you've missed something. It feels like you've missed an episode because characters are just in completely different places to where they was last time. So last time we saw Al, she was with Wes, Luciano, Daniel and Sarah, I believe. But now she's suddenly in the middle of nowhere on her own for some reason. How did she get there? What's she doing there? Who knows? And then Morgan finds her as well. I mean, how did Morgan get there? Where's he been the whole time? Since we last saw him at Strand's place, didn't we? So how is he here now? What's going on? I don't know. Morgan has this one line of throwaway dialogue in which she says to Al, "Oh, you never made it to the submarine with the others." So I'm guessing that means that Wes, Luciana, Daniel, all that lot made their way to the submarine and met Morgan there and something happened there. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, they all went to the submarine. But why not show us this happening? Why not show us the characters going to the submarine and talking to Morgan and meeting Morgan and all the characters actually talking together and being together on screen for once? Why not show this? Why instead have it as one line of dialogue from Morgan which viewers could easily miss? Why have this be your way of explaining how the characters got somewhere and where they've been since we last saw them? I just hate this. I hate it. Fear has a major problem of telling and not showing, and there you go. It's exactly what I mean, where characters just say, "Oh, you were there last week. Oh, do you remember you did that? Oh, you didn't go to this place. Well, I didn't fucking see this happen. Why did I not see this happen? Why are you getting a character to tell me about it instead?" Also, this episode has characters switching between having their masks on and then take them off every 30 seconds. The mask goes on, then the mask comes off. The mask goes on, then the mask comes off. The mask goes on, then the mask comes off because the writers don't understand what radiation does. The dialogue is terrible because of course it is. This is Fear the Walking Dead. What else do you expect? I mean, just have a look at this speech from Morgan at the end of the episode. Have a look and try not to slit your wrist whilst you watch it.
You're part of the story, Al. You were before and you are now. Hell, if you're alive, you are part of the story. And you can pretend that there's nothing there, that you're like a piece of machinery like that camera. You're not connected or affected, but you are. You are the story. I'm grateful I got to be a part of yours.
I love how the soundtrack to this clip tries to make it appear really emotional. You know, it has this sad music playing in the background, but it's absolute garbage. What he's saying is absolute garbage. It's nonsense. You are the story, Al. How can you take this seriously? Oh, it's so sad. Al's the story. Ugh, come on. Come on. We also get this scene at the start of the episode where Morgan is like talking to Al's camera, and it's hard to explain, but it feels like his dialogue is for our benefit and isn't actually something the character would say, because he's saying all this stuff like, "Remember when we first met, Al? Remember when you said that I will only push people away?" And it's like he's giving us a recap of what's happened since they first met in season 7. And I just watched this and I just thought that this isn't Morgan talking to Al. This is him talking to the audience. This is the writers saying, right, better remind the audience of what's happened, so let's have Morgan talk about it. And it just came off feeling as really unnatural and just really bad dialogue. I don't know, maybe I'm being a bit picky here, but I hope you can understand what I'm trying to say. You know, it just felt like this character here, Morgan, was giving exposition to us rather than him actually talking to Al, and this being something he would say to Al. It was just like, oh, right, yeah, better remind the audience of what's happened since season 4. Let's have Morgan do it in some dialogue. Final complaint about the dialogue is that Al keeps mentioning that the stories need to be told and someone's going to do this story, blah, blah, blah. I've mentioned this before. Why? Why do the stories need to be told? Why are you recording things? Who's going to see anything? Who's going to watch these videos? It's the end of the world. How does your CR girlfriend just so happen to have an old CRT TV? What are the chances of that? Grace appears at some point in this episode in the Mad Max Mobile and she rescues Morgan and Al. But then the Mad Max Mobile breaks down because, of course it does. I mean, what is this? The third or fourth time this season we've seen a car break down? It's just the same thing happening every episode. I'm convinced that Chambers and Goldberg only have one script. They only have one script, and for every episode they just edit out a few words here and there, change the names around, and that's it. Because every episode of this show is exactly the same. It's the same thing happening every week. The plot of this episode basically boils down to the fact that Al wants to find her girlfriend at the Civic Republic, and she wants to find her because she believes that the CR soldiers are going to kill her and take her out because she helped the protagonist at the end of last season, which she wasn't supposed to do. So she wants to try and rescue her. And of course, Al doesn't tell anyone that she's going to find her. She just runs off, leaves the characters, and even later through the episode, she lies to Morgan and leaves on her own to try and take out the CR soldiers. And again, this is one of those episodes in which the problems which the protagonist faced in this episode could easily have been avoided if they just communicated with one another, if people just spoke to one another. But no one on Fear knows how to communicate. People don't talk. They just run off and do their own thing, or they just lie, and then people end up in trouble. And all the problems that they face are problems of their own making. So like I said a moment ago, Al even ditches Morgan and Grace in this episode after they find her, but they do eventually manage to find her again. And to be honest, I'm amazed that they managed to find her before Howard the Voyeur did, because this dude always seems to be like hiding in bushes waiting for people. I was expecting him to pop out of a bush and be like, Strand told me you would be here, and do the same thing that he does every episode. But he wasn't in this episode, amazingly. He wasn't in this episode, but I don't know, maybe he's waiting back at the submarine. Maybe he's like hiding in a sandcastle on the beach, and he's gonna pop out like wearing his beach towel and be like, Strand said you'd be here, and it's gonna be the same fucking thing over and over again. Strand said you'd be here. Doesn't sound anything like him. Al, Morgan and Grace during this episode try to take down Reclamation 1, which is the name given to these soldiers who are trying to track down Al's girlfriend from the CR. Morgan and Grace do get held up by the CR soldiers, but of course Morgan overpowers them because Morgan is the ultimate alpha male who can do anything on this show. I did like seeing Morgan punched in the face multiple times by these soldiers though. That was the best part of the episode. Morgan and Grace get away, and then the CR soldiers catch up with all three of them during the night time, and then Morgan kills them by triggering this shrapnel bomb that Al has put into some kind of old cannon, and it blows them up. And okay, I guess. I mean, I thought it was a bit stupid, but okay, whatever. And then Al reunites with her girlfriend, and that's it. That's the end. And I just found this episode to be extremely and painfully dull. Like, there's not really anything else I can say about it. Al wants to find her girlfriend. She finds her girlfriend. The end. Where's Strand? Where's the rest of the characters? What's the point of this episode? I mean, if you're a person who cares about Al and who likes her girlfriend and, cares about that storyline, then, you might like this episode. But for me, I'm just looking at this and I'm looking at, like, the wider picture thinking, what have we achieved this episode? Al's found her girlfriend. Well, good for her, I guess. I don't really care. I don't care about Grace and Morgan either. In fact, I don't actually like any characters in this episode, which is probably another reason why I disliked it. But yeah, I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to say about this episode. It's just so dull. Admittedly, it was better than episode 5, but at least episode 5 had more going on, You can summarise this episode up, as I've already said, as Al wants to find her girlfriend. Al finds her girlfriend. Alright, whoop-de-fucking-do. Yeah, I just thought this was another really poor episode of Fear the Walking Dead. I hated it. I disliked it. Waste of time, in my opinion. I didn't like it. So let me know your thoughts below. Did you like this episode? Did you dislike it? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. And I'll see you all very soon. Take care. Goodbye.